Good morning, everyone from Seoul, and good evening to those who are following this event from Chile. My first words are to thank all those who made this activity possible, starting with the representatives of Born to Global, in particular to the directors Sojin Chan and Kim Jong-kap, Chief Executive Director, Maria de Los Angeles Romo, Manager of Startup Chile, Florencia Atademo here, representative of the Inter-American Development Bank Group, and all those startuppers from Chile and Korea who will be speaking today. Since 2010, Chile has been a pioneer in Latin America in the formation of a startup. With the support of the government through Chile's Economic Development Agency and executed by Innova Chile, startups have been institutionalized their mission to foster entrepreneurship and innovation and to improve productivity in Chile. The goal is to make our country the center of innovation and entrepreneurship in Latin America, attracting the best and brightest entrepreneurs in the world to create their startups in Chile, with an emphasis on technology ventures that positively impact in the life of people and the sustainable development of the country in their economic, social, and environmental dimensions. More than 50 countries have established similar initiatives, but Chile has been able to become a role model and a leading country in Latin America and top 10 worldwide in startups. In 2013, Korea established the Born to Global program to support Korean startups in the process of insertion into global markets. 2 years later, Chile and Korea signed an MOU on the promotion of startups and SMEs, demonstrating bilateral interest in deepening of the relationship on forward-looking issues. In 2019, both presidents agreed on a roadmap that included the fourth industrial revolution as a strategic sector for the bilateral relationship. The creation of networks with startups from other continents is a key element to boost the internationalization of entrepreneurship and the process of matchmaking national startups with the global counterparts. With this in mind, we wanted to include Korea in this endeavor, taking advantage of the great human and digital resources that they have, and to give visibility to the connectivity between young Chileans and Korean entrepreneurs. For us, this is just the beginning. Our goals are bigger. We want to contribute to the establishment of matchmaking between Chile and Korean startups in science, technology, and innovation, seeking to expand into the other sectors in order to position Chile as the counterpart of Korean startups in Latin America for the further developments toward other markets and contribute to find investors for all these initiatives. The successful cases of matchmaking between Chilean and Korean companies that we will see today are focused on the sector of retail, social development, and technology in agriculture, which are examples of the dimensions of sustainable development that are gaining track among youngers because they reflect real people needs and interests. Chile is also present in Dubai Expo, where we will bring 5 startups with the objective of positioning the country as a strategic ally and source of innovation solutions for sustainable. For them, we have developed a commercial and pre-internationalization program that will include the following activities: networking, pitches, meetings with investors, and commercial agendas with different partners in the market. Finally, I would like to add that Startup Chile is opening up a new application process on the 12th of October, which is a perfect opportunity to apply to their programs. Further details will be given later by its representative, Angeles Romo. Without further ado, I invite everyone to listen carefully to their presentations, which I'm sure will attract attention toward their internationalization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your remarks, Ambassador Gloria Cid. Now, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Seokjin Chang, Director of Born to Global Korea Center, the Korean startup agency founded in 2013. Mr. Chang.
Thank you, Lucas, and thank you very much, Your Excellency, for those encouraging remarks. We are very pleased to have this opportunity to share with all of you, especially the participating startups from Korea and Chile, regarding Born to Global's activities and what we aspire and how we aspire to assist you in the process of collaboration between the two countries. So let me share my screen with you and begin my presentation. So on behalf of Born to Global Center, I'm honored to be presenting our global incubation and acceleration initiatives and how we seek to collaborate in deep tech partnerships between Korea and Chile. Now, let me begin by explaining very briefly about our startup ecosystem. As many of you already know, we have been pleased to receive very high positions in the Bloomberg Innovation Index, as well as the Global Entrepreneurship Monitors in terms of market dynamics and the promotion of the startup ecosystem. And the activities that we conduct are very similar to those activities that the ambassador just mentioned that you are implementing in Chile as well. We have been very pleased to see a significant increase in the programs that the government provides to the entrepreneurs and startups, seeing a 4.6% increase to reach over $1.3 billion this year. We have also been seeing a lot of increase in venture capital investment, which is a very, very good news for our participating startups. For the past 9 years, we have seen a 241% increase in investments in startups, as well as a number of companies invested. As you can probably imagine, the key areas that are receiving the investments from the venture capitals are mostly in the ICT services, as well as biomedical, logistics, and other key deep tech areas that the government has been promoting. And in this regard, this year, the government announced a new strategy summarized as DNA, or Data, Network, and AI. And we focus on incubating and globally accelerating startups in this area where Born to Global Center is playing a key role. Now, let me talk just a little bit more about what we aspire to do and how we plan to collaborate with the participating startups today. As Lucas mentioned, we were established in 2013 as an agency under the Ministry of Science and ICT. A key characteristic of our center is that our key mandate is to promote the global collaboration and market expansion for startups. So we focus very much on these global collaboration efforts, and this webinar today is also part of our efforts to strengthen our ties in deep tech startups between Chile and Korea. We also focus on a lot of professional consulting. We carefully handpick our key startups from Korea, many of them participating today, based on their global business readiness, their product market fit, and global demand for their products and solutions. Once they are selected, they receive profound in-house services through our lawyers, patent attorneys, and accountants that are in-house, providing the relevant support for them to expand to global markets. In this regard, this is an array of our consulting services that we provide, and we are now in discussion with Startup Chile, so that if startups from Chile decide to expand to the Asian market through Korea, that we are able to provide these consultation services to the Chilean startups as well. Our product market fit program is a program that we provide for Korean startups, many of them participating today. If they choose Chile as their destination to enter the Latin American market, we will work with local partners in Chile to provide a preliminary market validation, product development, and project or product pivoting and localization, so that they land in Chile ready to expand in the local market with the local partners. Our BootX program is a program for early stage startups where if they join our program, we will incubate them and accelerate them for a 6-month period through their market setting, validation, and market entry process. We work intensively with global companies. Many of them, as you can see on the screen, the global multilateral development banks, as well as 5G, SaaS, FinTech, Smart City, and ICT-related companies. In this regard, we are planning to work intensively with the Embassy of Chile in Korea, as well as our local partner, Startup Chile, in linking the global corporations in Korea and Chile with the relevant startups in our ecosystems. Over the past 7 years that we have been in operation, we have attracted over $1.5 billion domestically and globally for our member startups, supporting over 2,600 startups through over 14,000 consulting services, overseas patent applications, and overseas incorporations. So because we are under the Ministry of Science and ICT, the member companies, including the companies that are present here today, are mostly in deep tech. As you can see here in the screen, the tech areas that we work the most with are in AI, machine learning, big data, IoT, health tech, fintech, digital health, SaaS, and cybersecurity. All of these areas that based on my understanding, are also key deep tech areas that the Chilean government is promoting locally in Chile as well. Over the past years, we have been also working intensively with Latin American countries. This was really started through the IDB, or the Banco Interamericano de Desarrollo, where they visited us. We worked together in ecosystem studies, on joint pitch days, moving on to issues like fund creation to invest in startups and the creation of partnerships or joint ventures. And as you can see on the screen, the key 2 projects that we are working right now with the IDB are, number 1, a startup fund, which will invest in the joint ventures between Korea and Latin American startups, and also the creation of joint ventures between Korean and Latin American countries. In this regard, we had initially introduced this project to the members, the distinguished ambassadors here in Korea, including, of course, Her Excellency Gloria Cid, the ambassador of Chile in Korea. And that was what really kicked off our partnerships with the countries in Latin America, including Chile. And in that regard, with the sponsorship and the attention from the IDB lab, we are very pleased to announce that we have been able to create 5 partnership prototypes or joint venture partnerships between startups globally, including Korea, and of those in Latin America. And one of them, very pleasing to see to you today, is the partnership between Korea's prominent and future unicorn, DOT, and of course the Chilean startup Will the World. I'm not going to go too much into detail because I'm waiting for the team from Will the World to present on what they aspire to do together to grow jointly and create synergies in both the Korean and Latin American markets, eventually going to the global market. We are also working with the World Bank so that we can take this project and grow it into a bigger scale, where jointly I'm hoping that Korea and Chilean startups will form more joint ventures and partnerships that will participate in global development projects that are also implemented by other MDBs, including the World Bank. So we believe that a collaborative approach to deep tech R&D is beneficial in many ways, especially in sourcing the deep tech solutions to tackle our development challenges, allow and ease the transfer of technology and knowledge between the 2 countries, ensure that there is a sustainable scaling up of local entrepreneurs and companies, and obviously the objective that we, Born to Global Center and Startup Chile, are aspiring to achieve, which is to foster a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem through active collaboration between the key stakeholders. And in this regard, we are now talking with our counterparts in Chile so that we can continue this project of building joint venture partnerships between deep tech companies of Korea and Chile. On one side, from Korea or Chile would have the high-end innovative deep tech, where on the other side, the company will provide the localization and the operational capacity. I'm sure that the example of Will the World and DOT as well as the other potential partnerships that we aspire to build today between Sensgrass of Chile and green agriculture and Group Race and SIGPAMA might be able to create more potential partnerships. And in this process, Korea and the Chilean governments, represented by Born to Global Center and Startup Chile, will work together to create these partnerships, work together to provide an offline platform, which we call the design lab, where they will be able to collaborate together 3 months, 6 months to go into the global market, and hopefully in the longer term, establish a joint venture promotion fund that is built bilaterally between the two countries so that these joint ventures can receive financial acceleration through the investments. And in this regard, the Korean government has already started this joint venture project. We have a fund where we are able to provide up to 100,000 US dollars to joint ventures that are formed between startups of Korea and Latin America, including Chile. So I'm really hoping that the two startups or the two potential pairs that we are presenting today might continue their discussions, receive our government support, and expand into the global market in a partnership. And we hope that through this effort, we will be able to foster more deep tech joint ventures between the two countries, promote the collaboration of R&D, which the ambassador just talked about, also contribute to the promotion of the local startup ecosystems, both in Korea and Chile, contributing to the ultimate objective, which is sustainable development of the economy and of the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So thank you very much for your attention. This has been our brief introduction of Born to Global Center and what we aspire to do with the startups. I am really looking forward to the participating startups today and supporting your efforts to work together in the global market. So thank you very much, Lucas. Thank you very much, Excellency.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chang. Having listened to Mr. Chang, who shared to us core inputs about Born to Global's work, it is now turn for Mrs. Maria de los Angeles Romo, manager of Startup Chile, who will address ideas regarding the work developed from Chile since 2010. Mrs. Romo, I give you the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pavez. And thank you very much, Mrs. Gloria Sid, Ambassador of Chile in Korea, and also Mr. Sok-Hin Chang, Director of Born to Global Center. Thank you very much for your invitation. I feel very pleased to be here with all of you. I would like to tell you a little bit more about Startup Chile and why we think this could be a good place for you to start your companies. And if I'm sharing my presentation, I don't know if you're able to see this. Is that okay for you?
We can see that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So first of all, I would like to let you know a little bit more about who we are. Startup Chile, what we used to do, we boast great founders because they drive LATAM. And first of all, I'll let you know that the year 2010 was a particular year for Chile, and specifically because we were living in a specific year at that time. First of all, we were living the economic and social crisis was massive in the world. We were living the global finance crisis, more important the last time. And also in Chile, we were living one of the strongest earthquakes in the history. At that time, we were looking for what was happening abroad, overseas Chile. And we were wondering who was in charge of the revolution in the business and the economy. And we realized that the tech entrepreneurs funding a startup was doing a difference in the world. So the year 2010 was a particular year for Chile. It was Startup Chile erupted into the local market. Before that year, Chile was better known for the mining, salmon, and wine. No culture of entrepreneurship, neither innovation was in the country. The country needs entrepreneurs and innovation right away. People used to say, we should be investing in talented people that boost this field in Chile, no matter where they're coming from. So Startup Chile at the 20 years was an experiment, an entrepreneurial mindset revolution. What happened at the time was the people start thinking as entrepreneur and start realizing that the entrepreneurs were able to do something in the local system or ecosystem, embrace technologies and innovation in the country. And after that, companies like the ASET, the Association for Entrepreneurs, and also the Venture Capital Association were growing fast in the country. What we thought about that, disruption was in our DNA. And basically now we are the first public accelerator of the world, 24 cases in the world, study cases, including MIT, Stanford, Harvard, the OCDE, and also the Catholic University of Chile. But also more than 30 nations replicated the model of Startup Chile around the world as a public policy. As you can see here, countries like Peru, Brazil, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Malaysia, Korea was inspired by the model of Startup Chile in these countries. So what we used to do, well, we accelerated startups to reach high impact sooner than later in the Latin market. What we used to do, first of all, we have a model with 5 pillars. The first one is resources. We used to give them to the entrepreneur equity-free funding, free co-work space, and also exclusive perks deal. Second, we give them an acceleration program, Startup Chile boards and platoons, Startup Chile Academy, expert offices hours, and also pitch training for all of them. Third, we give them connections. Yes, connection from Chile and also around the world. Corporate partners, venture capital, universities, governments, and also mentors. 4, we give them the opportunity to do soft landing in this country, a 1-year work visa, accompaniment throughout the process, and also the opportunity to have or to open a bank account in the local market. For what? For them to receive the equity-free funding, but also for them to start doing business in Chile. And finally, we give them the access to the community of a Startup Chile. More than 2,000 startups around Startup Chile, and also more than 5,000 entrepreneurs around the network. Today, what we are doing is strengthening our platform based on 3 pillars: attracting specialized human capital to the ecosystem, also pushing our entrepreneurs to the new markets, and also supporting private investment and funding. Why? Because we really believe that the entrepreneurs need to access to human capital, specialized, also new markets, and also investment for them to work and to grow. We are absolutely agnostic to industry, and also we are absolutely agnostic to nationalities. We welcome to entrepreneurs from around the world. Why? Because we really believe in great ideas to boost Chile's as economy. We really believe if we have high level of entrepreneurs, we can push them and they can create new ecosystem, not only in Chile, but also in Latin America and also from around the world. How is our impact? We can see here the program overview through the last 10 years. First of all, more than 2,000 startups passed through the program. 73% of these entrepreneurs are foreign startups, 27% Chilean startup. And now what we have is more than 5,000 alumni in the community. As you can see here, the impact in terms of dollars or numbers is very huge as well. As you can see here, we have more than 1.2 billions in total sales, and also 1.2 in total capital raise worldwide, and also 1 billions in total portfolio value. Also, you can see here that they have created more than 14,000 new jobs, which is interesting for our economy, but also for the world. finally, we can see here the public policy impact. The total investment for the Startup Chile program in the past 10 years is around $58 million. And as you can see, the total metrics for the entrepreneurs, you can also see here 22 times the investment made by the Startup Chile program, 5.5 times the investment made by the Startup Chile entrepreneurs in terms of sales, and finally 1.5 times a Startup Chile expenditure in fully covered and taxes paid for in Chile for the suppers, which is interesting because we can realize that the public policy is sustainable in a time, and the entrepreneurs finally pay for the public policy in the local way. So this is an invitation for all of you to be part of the wave, to be part of the program. What we are looking for a startup to accelerate, basically companies in tech base, innovation, scalability, and also impact. Our programs are three. The first one in the very early stage, in the idea time. We used to support companies around 60 startup in the very early stage in the program that we call Build. The second one is Ignite. We are looking for in this program companies or entrepreneurs with an MVP, a prototype, and also validation in the early stage. And the third program is Growth. We used to support 15 startup cohort, and we used to support in this stage companies in scaling sales and also or up to $1 million in revenues for that companies. The first program, Build, is a pre-acceleration program for early stage startup when at least 50% are led by female founders. What we give them from the very early stage to prototype and validate an MVP. 4 months in a program, 2 cohort a year, in between 15 to 16 startup per cohort, and around $13 million in funding, equity-free funding once again. The second one, Ignite program, is an acceleration program for a startup with a functional product and early validation. What we are looking for, once again, from functional product to a product market fit reach, 4-month program in 2 cohorts per year, 20 up to 30 startup per cohort, and around $32,000 in equity-free funding. And the third one is Growth. The Growth program is looking for companies in a scale stage for expansion of consolidated innovative tech-based businesses. And what we are looking for to support them for a program of 2 months, 10 to 15 startup per cohort, and also 15 co-funding up to $60 million, around $78,000 in equity free as well. So why Chile? Because Chile is ranked as the leading in a country in the region to do business. As you probably see, Chile is an excellent lab for entrepreneurs. Secondly, we are the Latin America leader in digital connectivity. Third, our public policies are very strong, focused on to support entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship, innovation at the venture capital industry. 4, we have significant global commercial agreement for the entrepreneur when they start growing their companies. And finally, we are doing a good soft landing for Latin America. People used to say that Chile is a good door for the Latin American market as well. So finally, what we are doing is don't care about where the entrepreneur are coming from. We are looking for, but where they are going and what they really want to achieve. Well, finally, Startup Chile is nowadays probably one of the most important and biggest portfolio of a startup in the world. And this is an invitation for all of you to be part of this platform as well. If you are an entrepreneur, but also if you are an investor or a mentor, you are very, very welcome to be part of Startup Chile. in Chile and from Chile for the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Mrs. Romo, for your remarks. Now we will start the startup pitching session. Firstly, as I mentioned at the beginning, Mr. Camilo Navarro, co-founder of the Chilean startup Will the World, an online marketplace for disabilities and their families to search and book accessible services, who will tell us about the joint work that they are developing with the Korean startup Dot, that has developed solutions to help the visually impaired improving their quality of life through products mixing braille system and IoT technology. Mr. Navarro, I give you the floor.
Hi, thanks for the invite. I must say that I'm a proud super and a proud Born to Global alumni too. So I'm very happy to share a little bit about our experience. I'm going to share my screen that I hope that you can both see. So at Will the World, we are allowing people with disabilities to explore the world, and we're using technology to do that. A little bit about our story is Alvaro, who is my co-founder. We have been friends since 5 years old. We went through elementary and high school together. And when he was 18 years old, he was involved in a car accident. As a consequence, now today he moved himself in a wheelchair since then. Of course, there was a terrible moment in both lives, especially his life. And that's when we realized that the world is not accessible. And what I mean by that is that we just accepted the reality that the world is not designed for people with disabilities to explore places, not like a restaurant or a theater or an hotel room in some part of the world or a flight going in an airplane. Essentially, nothing was designed for people with disabilities. And that was very frustrating. So one day we decided to challenge the most inaccessible thing in the world, Patagonia. We start planning a trip in Patagonia, Torres del Paine, in the last corner of the earth, Chile. And it happens that it was so frustrating to not being able to find any sort of information. We couldn't get like where we could stay at, how accessible was going to be that hotel room, what type of transport we could get, what type of activities we could do over there. Even that we needed this special wheelchair that I guess that you are looking here. And once we figured out to acquire this wheelchair, a local hotel reached out, and together we decided to build kind of the first online guide for someone with a disability to do this trip. It happens that we became the first one in history. This trip was never done before by any person with disabilities in history, and we became the first ones to do it. So we shared this online guide, and that's when our story went viral. Hundreds of people with disabilities start asking us for help to repeat the same trip we did. And on the other hand, we start receiving hotels and tour operators in different parts of the world who thought that we were some sort of content aggregator or like online platform. Back then we were in a startup. We were just two persons with an idea of exploring Patagonia with a wheelchair user. So we realized, because of that same reason, that there's a huge problem when we talk about people with disabilities exploring the world and especially traveling. Number one, the information is not online. You cannot find any specific accessibility information online that can tell you how accessible is going to be that hotel room, whether that hotel is in Patagonia, but also in Korea, in San Francisco, in New York. The information is not there. You can never know the altitude of the bed, the width of the door, what specific type of bathroom you need. And that's so important for someone with a disability because people with disabilities have different needs that depends on each person. Someone in a manual wheelchair have completely different needs from someone that also has a manual wheelchair. So on top of that, you have businesses that they don't really understand how to address and how to attend people with disabilities. And for that reason is where we thought like we needed to do something about it. When you think somehow there's 15% of the world population today that have disabilities. And there's 15% more that are their families and friends. So we're talking about 1/3 of the world population who is missing out and not being able to access to products and services like people without disabilities do. So we decided to do something about it, and we started Will the World with the purpose to make the world accessible. And how we're doing it? We are we built an online marketplace that allows people with disabilities to find and book accessible hotel rooms, tours and activities, and multi-day trips all around the world. And we provide detailed accessibility information, smart recommendation that depends on each person's needs, and we provide customer experience that secures an accessible trip. We're making this happen with technology. We're bringing accessible data to the cloud. We develop a software, an accessibility mapping system, as we call it, that is used by mappers, trained mappers all around the world, who are gathering this very specific information. And our system is sending automatically an assessment and a certification to each partner who is using the system. And every single data point that we're collecting here is being displayed in our platform at gowilltheworld.com. That our users, when they sign up, they basically build an accessibility profile and they can state what are their specific accessibility needs depending on their disability. And our systems recommends the exact listing that fit that specific needs. So imagine when you call an Uber, you're getting the best ride that fits your needs. You're not getting 10 alternatives. So this is kind of the same thing. We're customizing the experience for each one of our users. Imagine we started on 2018. We started Chile, so we're very proud, super, as I said before. And with only 10 listings, we sold $30,000. As we keep increasing the number of listings into our platform, our revenues start like growing rapidly. And only this year, we have been able to experience high growth as we would love to see. 2020 was a terrible year, as you all imagine, but now we're expecting to get a 1.2 million GMV by the end of this year. 90% of our travelers are Americans that are like exploring all over the world, different places. And this is our target customer. Today, Americans are spending $23 billion a year only in hotels, tours, and activities. And if you consider that they have families and friends, this market could be even larger. Like for every one travelers we have at Will the World, there's two who are their families and companions who don't have disabilities. So that's kind of what we are doing. And our users love it. They really love what we're doing. They're so passionate about the solution that we created. And they're encouraging us to keep growing because they want to travel and they want to explore many places out there. So we really want to do that. And also the help with media that is constantly cheering us up to keep making the world more accessible. We have an amazing team of people with and without disabilities convinced that we need to disrupt the travel industry once for all. And the thing that I like the most about our team is that 90% of them, they live the problem. They really understand what it means to whether have a disability or have a loved one with a disability. So we have proved so far that we have a profitable and business model and unique economic, that there's a huge market opportunity that is growing 17% every year. And we have the brand, the trusted brand that is disrupting the perception about what it means to have a disability. So now we have a clear path to follow, that the more listings we have, the more technology that we can add, the more booking and the more lives we can change through our platform. So that's when we heard about the program run by KoreaThrough Global about this amazing company called Dot. Dot created the first braille smartwatch in history that connects through Bluetooth and that is allowing people with visual disabilities and blind people to be able to read. And when we heard about this, we thought like we needed to do something about it. So we applied to the program and finally we got accepted to build the first pilot, which basically consists in using .go, a solution that essentially is a software that detects objects. And we are taking these objects into Will the World's platform too. So when people with disabilities are traveling in different places, imagine in Rapa Nui, we can detect objects and let them know what they are looking and assist them as like tour guides. And we are starting in Chile with the hope that we can expand this solution, not only in Chile, but in the whole Latin America. So we are very excited. We're just at the beginning of the project. So probably I'm going to have more news as we move forward. But we're very proud of being able to also work on sustainable development goals, especially reducing inequalities and sustainable cities and communities, which is so important because we're talking about 15% of the world population. So before I leave, I just want to say that the technology that we are building and that we're also improving with DOT is allowing this to happen. These are actually travelers from our platform who has explored different places of the world. And we believe that this is not only a great opportunity to make a good impact while building a great business at the same time, but we believe that this is also a moral duty. Because when you think somehow, every one of you who is listening to me right now, I can assure you that at some point of your life, you're going to have a disability as a consequence of aging. There's no way around that you won't have accessibility needs at some point of your life. So if we really want to build a bulletproof future, we better start doing something now. My name is Camilo Navarro, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Will the World. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Navarro. After this presentation about the successful case of joint work between Chile and Korean startups, let me introduce to you to Mr. Juan Francisco Norambuena, co-founder LATAM and Chief Sales Officer of SenseGrass, Chilean startup that developed a software for precision farming, focusing on the challenges posed by excessive fertilizers and financial loss within the agriculture industry. Mr. Norambuena, you have the attention of the audience.
Hello, everybody. Good morning to the Korean people. Good night to the Chileans who are listening here. I'm gonna share my screen. 1 second, please. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, well, as Lucas mentioned, my name is Juan Francisco Norambuena. I'm the co-founder of SenseGrass. SenseGrass is a SaaS platform with IoT and artificial intelligence for real-time fertilizer management. First of all, we realized that there are 3 big problems in the industry right now. There's an excessive use of fertilizers and usage of water, which it has high direct high carbon emission. There's 2/3 of the soil is degraded by this emission in excessive fertilizers, which produce 1/3 of loss in the agriculture. Why is this? Because right now there's the usage of the conventional way, which is with labs where they collect soil from the farm, take it back to the lab, test it, and prepare analysis for the farmers to take decisions. This is only a 10% accuracy, and it's expensive. Every time you go to the lab, it's about $100, and it takes from 3 to 7 working days to go. That's why we invented the world's first farm OS, which helps you improve your crop yields by 20% at a 40% lower cost of using precision farming. How does this work? Well, we monitor the crop cycles. We manage all connected farm devices, not only our sensors. We're working with a platform to help every sensor that's connected to the farms be in our platform. And we maximize our yield using the accountable artificial intelligence. How our sensors look right now, they are implemented into a soil. They're a plug and play. They need no Wi-Fi connection. They connect via SIM card. They're under 3 different lower levels, one at 6 inches, 9 inches, and 18 inches. And they give out nitrogen usage, phosphorus usage, potassium, humidity, temperature, and so forth. Right now, we do have competitions like Cropping, One Soil, and Terralytic, but we are the only company right now that's using the best of all the companies, which is satellite image or nanosatellites and patented soil sensors. And we incorporated our agronomists for actionable insights. Right now, we're attacking a 2.5 billion market where we're seeing a 14% growth annually. And our business model is via subscription. We charge a subscription for our SaaS platform, and our IoT sensor is sold per unit. And we also have a customized bundle for big corporate units or companies. Right now, as of today, we used to have 11 clients. Today, we closed with 3 companies in Mexico. So we expanded not only in Chile, we're now going to do business in Mexico with La Norteñita, with Fruco, and with another company that does Nogales in Mexico. Right now, we have a 70K USD ARR. We're trying to go into the 30,000 ARR monthly MRR in the next Q. Right now, we are also doing, we're expanding into Colombia. We have an agreement with Fenagro to do a POC there that we started in July. We started with NS Agro here in Chile, and we're going to go into Paraguay in Q1 of 2022. And also, as I mentioned before, into Mexico, and hopefully be the next unicorn in Chile. Our team is right now of Lalit Gautam. He's a 3rd generation agriculture from India. His family had in real life this problem. They still do. That's why one of the reasons we decided to attack this problem in the world. Basically, farmers or small to medium farmers don't have access to technology, specifically precision technology in NPK sensing. Right now, we decided we're testing over there. That's why we decided to go into this. As Camilo mentioned, also, that's one of the reasons one takes action is when they see somebody or someone who has lived this problem. One of the problems with the degradation of the soil in India is one of the most, it's one of the first suicidal rates that's happening over there. So that's why we decided to attack this problem also. Right now, we've gotten awards and recognition. The latest one, we were selected by Food Tech 500. We're one of the 125 companies to have insight for the next years to come. And that's our presentation of SenseGraph. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Norambuena. To complete this AgTech section, I will introduce to you Mr. Francisco Kwon, CEO of Green Agriculture, a Korean agriculture technology company that makes smart agriculture possible by innovating and implementing future agriculture technology to solve current and arising problems. Mr. Kwon, honor us with your presentation.
Hi, my name is Francisco. Okay, allow me to share my screen. Okay, so my name is Francisco. So as a company, we have been trying to solve the problems in the agriculture industry by technologies. And due to global warming, weather variability, the market size of the next generation agriculture, including smart farm, shows significant increase. And South Korea market also react to the same way to indoor agriculture technology. And at the moment, more government policy and support programs are on the way for it. We proved our productivity by farming in ourselves in our facility in the last 4 years, since we have such a strong price competitiveness for 14 kinds of unique farm product. So as the restaurant business prosper more, the menu also diversified over the years. So increasing demands of unique farm product gives us more market access opportunity. So as a company, we already tried 4 different smart farm systems. With horizontal smart farm system, we suffered due to sediment problem with nutrient water, and the plumbing system of it needed a lot of labor power to clean it. And it also takes a huge extra space when it comes to transplanting or harvesting. Besides, either it's a container farm or smart farm, it has to be away from high population area. So there was no advantage for distribution. Our current facility can be installed in any empty space. We built everything to achieve labor-friendly environment. Now we spend 30% less for the labor cost than while we were going along with horizontal vertical farming system. For our company's business, we provide our high efficient indoor agriculture facility technologies to the market, and while we do farm product sales and distribution simultaneously. By the coexistence of these three different business models, a farmer who does farming in our facility can fully focus on due diligence farming and worrying not so much about how to sell it. And at the moment, since we have been gained our reputation as a consistent farm product producer in the last 4 years, we already receiving so much supply requests from big corporations like Shinsegae Food and Emart in our country. For 99 square meter facility, we invested around $100,000, and our monthly total sales number of farm product was more than $35,000. If we can acquire a chance to move into bigger facility, bigger place, our efficiency will only getting better. We don't do any outsourcing for our installation, from floor plan to finishing touch, including plumbing system, electricity, facility design. Everything has been done by ourselves, so we can completely adapt to the situation of the space. It takes around 8 weeks to complete the installation of our facility. So in our headquarters, we provide our branches we provide a selected premature plants, and also sharing farm product demand data based on big data analysis, ICT related after service, by provide everything to utilize our company's farming capability. Now our branches do farming without any adjustment period. By combining our hybrid seed, self-developed LED nutrient vertical farming system, we were able to lower the cost and increase the productivity simultaneously. Our labor-friendly environment allowed us to save the labor cost significantly. Also, we have vertical farming system, which can reach our return on investment by growing fruits and flowers as well. We make our special nutrient. It brings out the best productivity. We offer our LED with reasonable price, and still it has a full spectrum. It can grow, it allows us to grow fruits and flowers as well. And for the moment, we are testing AI robots for foliar spray work and harvesting, and we are about to operating it at some point next week. And we also can grow pretty much everything in our indoor agriculture facility. So basically, we can always offer lower price to the market from where not so far away from high population area. And we also have we also use this plasma technology to sanitize our indoor agriculture facility, and it works for all the time. It improves the shelf life of the our farm products. We also, for the soil farming, and then we have been cooperating with farmers and farmers association in the last 5 years. We also developed our own farmers market and plumbing system for soil farming to support the soil farmers in our region. And we also prepared non-electricity hydroponic watering system by combining our agriculture tax, and which we can provide better farming to countries with less resource. Also, we have doubled our productivity by adding CO2 in our indoor agriculture facility, and also at the moment we are using fertilizer with less carbon, and we are about to add a CCU machine in our facility. So we are trying to achieve farming with way less greenhouse gas emission. By the end of this year, we'll have 4 branches in Gyeongsang-do province and Gimpo in our country. So in 99 square meter facility, we can expect to grow at least 150 kilograms of herb monthly. This is minimum expectation. And as the farmer in our facility, get to know more about how to grow, how to do proper job in our facility, their productivity expectation will only get better. And especially about the cost and excluding labor cost and rent is pretty much all it takes. And then we don't. And this is a picture of our first prototype facility. It used to stay in middle of the Seoul city. And this is a picture of our headquarters. And at the moment, we are trying to build our first container farm. At the moment, 16 people working in our company. And this week, we secured an investment from Chile, and we are talking to secure a Series A investment with SK Innovation. So which we can do, better farming with our technologies, and which we can achieve farming with way less greenhouse emission than ever. That's pretty much of it. Thank you.
Mr. Kwon, thanks so much for your interesting presentation. After the AgTech section, we will continue with the section for retail companies. Firstly, we will listen to the pitch of Mr. Sean Park, co-founder of Group Rise, a Chilean marketplace and booking engine that fills restaurants underutilized times with 20 to 200 plus customers who are supporting a social cause, digitalizing restaurants' low times and incentivizing customers to book these times. I give you the floor.
Thank you. Buenos días, buenas tardes, 안녕하세요. Can you see my screen now? Great. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. All right, so my name is Sean, and I am from Group Race, where it's based in Santiago, Chile, and also Houston, Texas. And we like to call ourselves the most delicious way to change the world. We help local organizations raise money for what they care about by eating at local restaurants. So, if you imagine fundraising in the US, and not for startups, but for general, local organizations, you can imagine something like this. I'm sure you've seen it in American movies or series, people selling lemonades or, bake sales to raise money for what they care about, or, something like going on a trip or buying soccer cleats, or going on mission trips. These are all funded by these small fundraisers, right? And these fundraisers are still happening very manually by selling the things that we don't normally eat or we don't normally buy. And this is where Group A's comes in. And Group A's essentially is an extremely easy and delicious and fun way to raise money. What happens is on a Tuesday night, let's say you bring out friends and family out to eat, and have a great time. You pay the menu price, and at the end of the night, the restaurant looks at all the sales from your group and gives back a percentage, for example, 15 to 50%, depending on the restaurant, back to your organization as a fund. And this is happening throughout the US. And so far, we have brought 4 million restaurant customers, or 4 million people who have gone to a group-based meal to support a cause that they care about in their community. And this just happened by going to a restaurant. And restaurants love using group-based to host these events because, one, we bring on an average of 55 people on a slow night or slow day, and these people, out of these 55 people, 40% are first-time visitors, according to our survey. And 95% of these people are willing to come back for more, mainly because they know the restaurant is giving back to the community or the organization that they care about, and they pay the full menu price instead of getting 50% discounts. And so it's easier to come back and with the consistent experience that they look forward to. So at the end of the day, Group A's really offers a win-win-win model where restaurants win because of more customers and new customers. Local community wins because they get to raise money over eating, which people love. And Group A's wins because restaurants pay us a fixed fee per the events that happen throughout the US. And And that's why today we have over 10,000 plus restaurants as our partners throughout all 50 states. And with COVID, just like how every business out there has had impact from COVID, we also had to innovate. And this, especially with digital innovation, what it meant for us specifically was that we had to be opening these channels of takeout, delivery, or drive-throughs, and somehow integrate them into our fundraising or fundraisers. And today, the majority of our restaurants are offering these digital options where people can come and have these pizza delivery or pizza takeout fundraisers where you get to just share pizza and very safely COVID friendly style. And the best thing about this was that because we now have so many more channels than just in restaurant sales, we were actually able to bring a higher amount of sales per fundraiser for these restaurants, so that it has been really helpful for these restaurants to go through these tough 1.5 years of COVID. And the pandemic also has gifted us with a new fundraising partnership to offer to our users. Since birth, GroupRaise has reached out to over 1 million nonprofits in the US. And this is a segment of people that, as I mentioned, are lacking fundraising expertise, and also they're having to choose between bake sales and car washes. And what we provide is a digital solution to their fundraising effort, from planning, booking, promoting, and tracking. And exactly that's what we offer with the help of AI-powered suggestion algorithms and date suggestions that are key to user experience today. And this story resonated with the largest corporation in the world, Walmart. And I'm proud to announce our recent partnership with Sam's Club, a membership-only retail warehouse chain owned by Walmart. And this is, if you're not familiar with Sam's Club, it's kind of like Costco, but Walmart version, and they have 600 mega stores throughout the US. And GroupRaise users are now able to fundraise by selling Sam's Club membership, which is an annual membership, to their supporters, and get a percentage of membership fees donated to their organization. And since launching in August of this year, we're already seeing a huge traction thanks to the brand value of Walmart and Sam's Club, and also the ease of fundraising that we provide at GroupRaise. An average nonprofit in the US hosts between 5 to 10 different fundraisers a year, and preferably in a different format, because it could get boring if you're doing one thing over and over. So our work with Sam's Club is one of many partnerships we plan to build to serve 1.5 million registered nonprofits in the US and many more throughout the world. In fact, we also just added a t-shirt fundraising company called Bonfire as a partner to allow t-shirt selling or t-shirt designing as a medium to raise funds. Our journey started with one Mexican restaurant called Mission Burrito in Houston, Texas. That was just excited to give back to the local community. We joined Startup Chile in 2014 and the Scale program back then in 2015. And we loved seeing and attracting talent in Chile, from customer success, engineering to marketing. And the fact that we were in the same time zone as our main market, the US, was perfect. And during that time, we were able to go from 500 restaurant partners to 10,000 restaurants. And this is all thanks to the great talent and support from Startup Chile and the Chilean ecosystem. And we're excited to grow our partnerships with millions of merchants to create more business impact while helping everyday people raise money for what they care about by doing what they love doing, whether it's eating, shopping, or anything you can imagine. We're GroupRaise, and we are the most delicious way to change the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Park. Last but not least, we will have the presentation of Mr. Jung Soo, CEO and founder of Sigfama, a Korean retail company in the food sector that offers a software as a service system for restaurants management, providing data analysis using artificial intelligence for an efficient operational organization. Mr. Jung Soo, I give you the floor.
Thank you. Let me share my screen. Hi, we build success for restaurant owners using the power of big data. Hi, I'm Jung, representing SIGPAMA. Meet Kim. She's a restaurant owner. Ever since she's been inviting her friends over cookout, it's always been her dream to run this Korean restaurant. That's all it's been she wanting to do. She loves seeing people eating her incredible seaweed, fried seaweed tofu salad. Sad news is that Kim's gonna fail. In 5 years, 4 restaurants fail and only 1 survives. Why? Because they don't know how to do the science, what a restaurant takes. The cost of the food, the demand of the food, the traffic of the restaurant is always moving and changing. And if you don't have your arms around the data, you'll be the one of the 4 that will fail. It's difficult to be a restaurant owner. There's actually science to it as much as to an art to the plate in front of the customers. In Korea, we have Chef Baek, the Korean Gordon Ramsay. He's the master chef and has a chain of restaurants, and he knows science. He knows that the ideal cost should be under 38% of the plate. So for the tofu salad that she's been charging $10 for, $4 cost only. Because she's got to use the rest of the money for pay for the staff, keep the lights on, and pay the rent. In reality, we found out the restaurant spends nearly half of the plate on the ingredients, and that's why the 4 down within 5 years. And they're not paying attention to their audience is surging, and they have no idea of the science, and we don't want Kim to fail. And that's where SIGPAMA comes in. We use data analytics by helping Kim gather the data that she needs to help the smart decision. We're here to help Kim survive. Kim's smart, so all she has to do is download the SIGPAMA app. Our AI forecasting model helps to cut down the costs. And we have the credit card swipes from the customers to understand the sales trends of Kim's restaurant and how often each customer come back for her pork belly dish. And that's easy, but SIGPAMA's AI tells Kim how busy her restaurant will get coming Monday. And building that AI takes a lot of trial and error. The data that we use that is most important is the point of sales data and public holidays, temperature, humidity. And we also use economic data such as KOSPI, which is like a NASDAQ, and interest rate to forecast the sales of the restaurant hourly. And we also, and sorry about that, hold on a second. We also get Kim's point of sales data to understand that customers feel like they're having a bone marrow soup on the day after it rained. And the next Monday is a huge day for people ordering steamed pork belly lettuce wrap. She thought it was maybe Monday, but the data shows her that it's Monday, so she needs to stock up on Saturday. So on Saturday, she's making sure all the food orders are in and they're at the price that she can be under 38%. Now, Kim is very well aware through the science and the data that the Monday is going to be the biggest day for her, and it's no longer a feeling. And while we measure the ingredient and the costs that are inside, we stay up to the current. In Korea, City Daegu, we saw that when there was a spike in the number of COVID-19 case in a week, it takes 6 days to see the drop of the usage of a meat by 110 kilograms. And then I have to interrupt a little bit here. And then SIGPAMA, we recently have pivoted a bit because we found out that the restaurant owners were a little hesitant to pay for the service that we were just talking about earlier. And in light of the more customer research, and we are letting a restaurant cut down the cost of labor, but we're also informing the preference of repeat customers. So what we're doing is that, again, with the chef pack here, restaurant owner needs is they always want to know way to recognize repeat customers before they place an order. And owners want even the part-time employees to know that. So even when they're not there, they have the same systems going. And customer wants that they don't want to tell the staff members that they don't want green onions in their noodles every time they come in here. And every time they walk into a new restaurant, they want to see what's the most sold here. So they end up looking into Instagram, and in Korea, we don't have the Yelp here. And so for the solution, restaurant customer data allows every staff members to greet customers accordingly. And then for the customers, they can order and pay separately on their phone. And so what it does is customer scans a QR code on the table, and then within the five seconds, the restaurant will get alert that you have whether a repeat customer or new customer. And customers can see the top 5 ranking of the menu, and they will place an order. And we're currently at the stage of not in a full development. We're still planning on to making this. And so the customers will get a recommendation dishes like Netflix, and restaurant gets the customer data that when was the last time they visited, and how are their preference on the food. So the benefit of cost is it's about $11 an hour to have a staff wage in Korea. And during the peak hours, staff member spends 4 hours taking payments and taking orders. You put the 26 days in a month, it's about $1,000 monthly cost, where Sigpama's solution is $30 monthly subscription. Our go-to-market plan is that we regional approach first and go targeting a franchise. And we currently working with the 2 franchise headquarters and 44 locations, and we're getting monthly 420K rows of data monthly. And we're currently discussing using our solution with a local bank solution, Daegu Bank. And that's our estimated revenue size in South Korea. And our compared to our competition, that we can recognize the repeat customers before they place an order. And our key differentiator will be getting the point of sales data. So while the other service, they get the card slip, which they only get the total amount of. And that's our team. We are very, very early stage startup compared to all the other CEOs who are present here today. We are just about a year since we started. And I was working as a product designer in Austin, Texas until last year. I came to Korea and met up with my teammates through an AI competition. And we won the competition using the point of sales data, and that's how we got kickstarted. And for accelerating program, we're participating in pre-accelerating with the SOSB and then Wine Archer in Korea. Our data partner is a Korea Credit Bureau, and we're getting advisory from Kyungbuk National University Food and Beverage CEO course professor. And that's our team, and thank you very much.
Many thanks for your presentation, Mr. Su. Now we have 10 minutes of Q&A. So we would like to be grateful if you could send your inquiries by the chat box, indicating to whom you would like to ask the question. Firstly, we have a question of sense class to Mr. Kwon of Green Agriculture. So it is, how you make sure about the needs of plants to grow higher and healthier?
Sorry, would you repeat the question?
Oh, yes, please.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
how you make sure about the needs of plants to grow higher and healthier.
Since, as I told you before, we make our own special nutrients. So we do all the experiments for the plants to grow by ourselves. So we separate the macronutrient, micronutrient for each plant, and then we develop into, normally it's up to almost 20 groups for one single plant. And then we kind of, gives a little bit of a variation for each group. And if the certain plant reacts to a certain micronutrient differently, then we kind of notice this certain plant reacts to certain micronutrients really well. So in a positive way, then we are kind of building our special nutrient based on the results of our experiment. So far, so we were able to reach the return on investment by developing our own, farming technology, including our special nutrient. And actually, there's a little bit of a nanotechnology in our special nutrient. So normally, most of laboratory trying to build a nano micronutrient, and they are for 50 nanometers, but our nanonutrient almost for 10 nanometers, and also it has a great pH buffer, and then it's really it takes really well. It goes really well with the ultraviolet radiations, and so that's how we were able to increase the productivity of our plants. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kwon.
Yep.
Secondly, we have another question. It is from Sigpama to Group Rise regarding forecasting artificial intelligence. So let me read. In that way, is Group Rise picturing utilizing predictable slow times of restaurants and bars? Is this feature's main purpose more of for helping customers to pick out which restaurants will have less traffic for the date when their group wants to set up an event, or it is more geared toward helping restaurant owners efficiently prepare ingredients and schedule staff members ahead of time?
Yeah, that was a long question, but I'll try to answer everything I can. So first of all, in terms of helping restaurants find slow times, this is something that we depend on the restaurant right now because we don't have the capacity to identify that, which I feel like you guys are doing great. So restaurants let us know when their slow times are today, but I know that it fluctuates, which is why I think you're really investing in technology to define that. So, and a lot of times we see that restaurants are not able to accept these requests coming in, let's say on a Wednesday night. It was not busy last week, but it suddenly, this week we see that it's busy. So you cannot really have a fundraiser where, you have 55 additional people coming in. So, by the way, if you're speaking, you're muted. But yes, that's so I think that's one thing. But in terms of helping restaurants, yeah. So what we help with is to carry out these fundraisers from requesting, so managing them in one dashboard to be able to view who they are supporting, but at the same time to be able to book them online. That's the platform that we run. But we at the same time to be able to successfully host these, bringing 55 people in a specific time is not easy, right? You've hosted multi events. And so what we do is we help them promote better by, automating the process of promotion from what we know, what we learn from what promotions work, whether it's social media, email, these different promotional channels that we use to automatically generate the messages and the visuals. That's the kind of the technology that we invest in to be able to have these successful fundraisers. Hopefully this answers the question.
Thank you so much. Another question for you. Does Group Rise have access to restaurants' data from points of sales machines? The most important data needed to analyze the traffic of restaurants will be by hourly sales data.
That is potentially the next step for Group Raise, is to integrate with the POS system so that even with donations, so when restaurants see how much sales came in from the event, right now we rely on the restaurant when they, for example, if someone walks into a restaurant and for a fundraiser, they say that they're from the organization, and in the POS system, they usually have a button to count towards that specific group. And that's how we're measuring it. But then, it's also not 100% accurate sometimes. So the full integration of POS is something that we're looking forward to because we have larger restaurant partners. So for example, California Pizza Kitchen or Mod Pizza, these are the larger customers that we work with. And it's easier to then really integrate POS with their POS rather than, 5,000 different small restaurants, right? So that's where I think we're going to start. But you're right, the POS system integration is quite essential for any specific analysis like slow times.
Thank you so much, Mr. Park.
Thank you.
You have more questions for you, but to manage time in a better way, I will read the last question, and the rest I will send you by email, so Group Rise can answer to us, and we can share it later with the rest of the audience, if you agree.
Sounds great.
Okay, so the last question: are you looking for partners in the restaurant bar industry in the U.S.? Did you have more success by contacting franchise headquarters or a cluster of individual restaurant city after another city?
This is a long answer, and I'll try my best to write it. I'm sorry, am I supposed to answer now?
Yeah, if that's the last question that we can share in this moment. So
Oh,
after
okay.
that, the rest
I see.
by
My bad.
Okay.
So when we started, it was door-to-door sales. So we're just knocking on local restaurants in Houston one at a time. But then once we realized that what they were looking for was in these pockets of areas where, for example, there are colleges. So because it was so easy for college students to host these fundraisers on our site, we looked at all the restaurants, around a certain mile radius of these colleges. So the larger ones like UCLA or, Yale, these large colleges, we looked at them, we basically scraped all the restaurants within, let's say 5 miles of these colleges, and we started email marketing. And that's one way that we added a lot of restaurants. The other one was enterprise sales. So we were also knocking on doors via phone call or mostly by email. And that's when we were able to start communications with, the not in the scales of McDonald's, but just under that, right? A couple hundred different locations in the US, that those were our targets, especially the fast casuals, what they call. Those are the types of restaurants that we really do well with. So yeah, so we started with door-to-door and then email marketing to small to medium restaurants, and then larger clients with enterprise sales approach.
Thank you so much. After these presentations, for the wrap-up session, we will have the pre-recorded video of Mrs. Florencia Atademo here, representative of the Inter-American Development Bank Group, Chile, and General Manager for the Southern Cone Department, who will address some core ideas.
Hello, everyone. I am so pleased to share a few thoughts with these fantastic innovators from Chile and Korea today. My name is Florencia Atademo, General Manager of the Southern Cone Countries Department and representative of the IDB Group in Chile. First, I would like to thank Startup Chile and Born to Global for organizing such a meaningful meetup. We are thrilled to be here today promoting partnership opportunities between Chile and Korea. As a multilateral development bank, the IDB Group works to improve lives in Latin America and the Caribbean. Our aim is to achieve development in a sustainable way, enhancing social inclusion, productivity, innovation, and regional integration. In the wake from the pandemic, our Vision 2025 outlines 5 priority areas for ID Group support to the region, including regional integration and the strengthening of value chains, support for small and medium-sized enterprises, promotion of a digital economy, and the prioritization of gender and climate change response. To tackle this vision, it is key to support new business models, promote entrepreneurship with social and environmental impact, and build strong connections with relevant players such as incubators, venture capital investors, and corporates. For Chile, Korea is a particularly interesting ecosystem to work with. Since the FTA signed in 2004, bilateral trade has been growing, and Chile has become Korea's 3rd most important trade partner in Latin America and the Caribbean. Korea is also a benchmark innovation ecosystem for Chile, given its similar geographic conditions and global outlook. Korea has been ranked number 2 on the Bloomberg Innovation Index as one of the top 20 startup ecosystems in the world. It is also a forward-looking country with a digital New Deal policy that will invest over $62 billion in cutting-edge technologies such as 5G and AI. Chile, on the other hand, is also a fast-growing and attractive innovation ecosystem and venture capital market. Chile is now the 5th largest startup market in Latin America and the Caribbean, with over $136 million invested in 2020 alone, and fast-growing this year. The country has already seen the birth of its first unicorn this July, Notco, a plant-based food tech company that has been backed by Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, among other prominent regional and global investors. Here at the IDV Group, we have been catalyzing partnerships between the startup ecosystems of Chile and Korea. One cornerstone example is IDV Lab's Deep Tech Exchange initiative. Launched in late 2020 as a response to promote partnership solutions in the context of the pandemic, the program sought to finance 5 partnerships deep tech pairs from Latin America and Korea of up to $120,000. One of the 5 selected pairs is from Chile, and it is here with us today. Will the World, who is collaborating with DOT. Both companies are creating a disruptively innovative solution for making tourism accessible for people with disabilities using IoT technology. This is an excellent example of how the IDV Group can catalyze real and impactful partnerships between startups across ecosystems. It is great to see such a high interest in other startup pairs as we saw today, and we hope to continue supporting them in a similar approach in the future. With that, I once again want to congratulate the startups, Startup Chile, and Born to Global for this event. We are looking forward to form greater connections and generate real impact value in Latin America and the Caribbean. Thank you.
So, to finish this activity, allow me to introduce Mr. Kim Jong-kak, Chief Executive Director of Born to Global Center, who will close this event. Mr. Kim, the floor is yours.
Hi, good morning and good evening. My name is Jong-kak Kim. I'm Chief Executive Director of the Born to Global. First of all, I appreciate the investor and Startup Chile and IDB. I'm so happy to see hosting first event between Chile startup and the Korean startup work together. Actually, the Startup Chile, why they present their, the introduction, she mentioned about already, but the Chile startup influenced to Korean startup policy a lot. When the 2013 and 2012, at the time we tried to initiate the startup, motivation and startup the policy trend. But meanwhile, we tried to study each other and we exchange the ecosystem each other. But I think this is the first time startup to startup meet each other. Yeah, so that's most, the significant progress between Chile and Korea. The IDB mentioned we launched the joint venture partnership initiative last year, And I think that the most different from others event, our initiative is introduce the startup to startup engagement and work together. Of course, today's Sensegrass and Green and the Group Race and Sigpharma, independently, they are beautiful company and that they can do well without any other help. So, but if they find out, the right niche point, then they can conquer the world more easily, I think. So time is everything for the startup. So if you have the 10 years, 20 years, you can do by yourself everything. But the market conditions always needs a more new type of innovation, new type of business model. That's why we introduce independent, very good company each other. But I hope that they find out what can be collaborate, like a dot and the real world, the case. So I hope we can have some another continuous meeting like this format. And I want to know more about the Chile ecosystem, like the venture capitalist and the accelerator. And we also want to exchange the investor to investor and accelerator to accelerator. Of course, the startup to startup, and making some serious success story. And Chile, startup Chile, and the Born to Global will support that partnership and promoting their global market penetration together. Thank you for today.
Mr. Kim, thanks so much for your meaningful remarks. On behalf of the Embassy of Chile in the Republic of Korea, Born to Global, and Startup Chile, I would like to thank to all the participants in this event. In the coming days, we will upload the recording video to the digital platforms of the organizers, so it will keep available for persons interested on checking and sharing this event. Good night for the attendance in Chile, and for the participants based in Korea, have a nice day.